The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. Part 4. The Agwars plan to destroy Claus. Friends, have you ever heard of the Agwars? If not, today I will tell you about them. The Agwars are mysterious creatures who caused our good Claus a great deal of trouble. They were huge, with ugly, scowling faces, without conscience, and they took pleasure only in evil. They lived in the Rocky Mountains, from where they set out to commit their wicked deeds. They were able to control people's mind and make them do evil. One of their favorite pastimes was stirring up anger and quarrels among children, encouraging them to disobey their parents. Since Claus came to the Laughing Valley and began making toys, there have been fewer naughty children, said a king of the Agwars, sitting on a rock. The children no longer argue or fight, and in the evening they even brush their teeth carefully, because then they are allowed to take their favorite toy to bed. Such a situation is unacceptable for the Agwars, and the only way we can influence the children again is to take Claus away, far from them. Exactly, we agree, shouted the other Agwars, applauding the king's speech. What shall we do with him? Asked one of them. I have a plan, replied the evil king. That night, while Claus was sleeping after a long and tiring day, a band of Agwars surrounded him, tied him up, and flew with him to a dark jungle in a distant Ethiopia, where they left him lying there. In the morning, Claus found himself thousands of miles away from people, trapped in a wild jungle of an unknown land. Above his head a huge snake swayed. A few steps away a wild panther lay hidden, and along the ground crawled a large spotted spider. But Claus, rising Burzee, was not afraid. Come to me, nooks of the forest, he shouted and whistled a strange signal. The panther turned and disappeared. The snake hid itself in a tree, and the spider crept beneath a fallen log. Claus was surrounded by a group of rough-looking nooks, creatures unlike any he had ever seen before. Who are you, that you call upon us? Asked one in a rough voice. I'm a friend of your brothers from Burzee, Claus replied. The Agwars brought me here so that I might perish, and now I beg you to help me, set me free and carry me home. Do you bear the sign? Asked another. Yes, answered Claus. The nooks loosened his bonds, and Claus showed them the secret sign of the nooks. Our brothers from Burzee have strange friends, muttered the old nook with a white beard. But whoever knows our secret sign must be helped. Close your eyes, stranger, and we will take you home. Where's your home? It's in the Laughing Valley, Claus replied, and closed his eyes. There's only one Laughing Valley in the entire known world, so we won't get lost, Nook added. A moment later, Claus opened his eyes and realized he was sitting by his own door, with the Laughing Valley stretching out before him. That very day, he visited the nymphs and told his story to Queen Zerlin. "The Agwars have become your enemies," said Zerlin. "We must do everything we can to protect you." The queen came to Claus's house and placed her seal upon all the doors and windows so that the Agwars could not break in. The cruel king of the Agwars and his band were filled with rage when they learned that Claus had escaped from the Ethiopian jungle. They raged for an entire week and then gathered once more among the rocks. "It is useless to kidnap him to where the Nooks rule," said the king. "He has their protection. Let us throw him into a cave in our mountains." But the evil plan did not succeed, for Claus's dwelling was guarded by the seal of Queen Zerlin. The Agwars realized that they could not destroy one who had friends among the immortals, and so they sought other ways to prevent Claus from bringing joy to the children. The Agwars followed Claus at every step. Whenever Claus set out with toys for the children, the Agwars immediately took them from him. Both the children and Claus were disappointed, but Claus tirelessly continued making toys. In this way, the Agwars gradually collected many toys, which they stored in a secret cave deep in the mountains. Claus was deeply saddened by the Agwars' behavior, for he longed to bring joy to the children. At last, he decided to go to the great Ag, master of the forests, and ask him for help. Ag, master of the forests, listened carefully to Claus's story, stroked his beard, and thought, "From the very beginning, I have approved of your work among the children, and it angers me that the wicked Agwars interfere with your good deeds," said Ag. "I shall ask them to stop their persecution, for you are under our protection." And so Ag, together with Claus and the immortals of the Forest of Burzee, set out for the mountains of the Agwars. Upon the rocks, Ag called out to the king and his people. In an instant, the grim faces of the Agwars gathered before him. "Who has dared to summon us?" shouted the king. "I have, the master of the forest," replied Ag. The king snarled, "We have no duty to you or to any other immortals. Return to your forest." "But you have harmed Claus, who is under our protection," Ag answered in a calm voice. The Agwars murmured angrily, and their king declared, "We shall destroy you all and all your goodness." At that moment, the Agwars, creatures filled with anger and hatred, burst from the forest straight toward the immortals, and Claus gathered around the great Ag. And in that instant, the battle began, a battle between good and evil, between light and shadow. One by one, the Agwars rushed forward, but each was gradually struck by the light of goodness that shone from the hearts of the immortals. In time, every Agwar was transformed into a heap of clay, no longer able to harm anyone. And so evil was driven away, and Claus could, with peace in his heart, devote himself to what he loved most, bringing joy to children. His workshop came alive once more with laughter and the scent of freshly carved wood. But time passed, winter arrived, and a great deal of snow fell. The sack of toys grew heavy, and the road to the children was long. Though Claus was strong and determined, he began to wonder. How can I bring their toys to all the children quickly and on time, even in such deep snow? As he sat by the window, watching the snowflakes fall, a very strange idea began to form in his mind. What did Claus come up with? Will he manage to find help? Let yourself be surprised. I will tell you about his amazing idea in the next part of the story, The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. With love, your Panda Millie.